Hello, this is going to be my, I won't say short because it's never short, video ramble about the 5000 series and what my thoughts are and my beliefs as to what's going to happen. This kind of goes back probably to a video that I was rambling on about a year, maybe a year and a half ago now, when I was saying about they have to do what they're doing, and obviously with DLSS and AMD's doing its thing and stuff, because they have to keep the cards smaller and power draw down and everything else, because if the cards were to remain native and all these things didn't exist, your card would be bigger because it would need a bigger cooler, it'd be more expensive to try and obviously get the frames that you wanted running at native. It would just make it insane. It couldn't be done. That they had to go down this path, more so because consoles need this as well now, because obviously they want to keep them as small as possible, as quiet as possible, but also performance wise is an uptick each time they release one. So I get why they've done it. Now, I thought it might be around about the 6000 series going onwards where they really kind of kick this into gear, but it kind of happened a bit sooner. With the 5000 series, that they've attached a whole load of new things to it to get these numbers that we're seeing. I'm just going to say straight off the bat, for those saying, oh, cry about your 4090 and stuff like that, that's the same. Every 2.5 years, when they bring out another card, you're going to say that. You're going to say about the 50s and the 6s and the 7s and everything else. The technology is always going to move on. It just so happens that the pricing wise is better this time. But again, GPUs are one of the few things I would say that if you can get it on day one, so you can get your 2.5, 3 years out of it before the next card comes out, and then you've had your money's worth. If you're getting it like after a year and a half or maybe even 6 months before the launch, you're not getting your money's worth, and you're probably best off avoiding the internet, because you're going to see something come out and be highly disappointed at how much you paid versus what the new thing is. And that's the same with most tech, really. So if you can, try and get them at launch, so you can at least get like I say like 2.5 years out of it. Now, the 4090s versus the 5000s. Can't speak about the low ones, but certainly the 4090s. If in my kind of working out and my knowledge as such, how these cards are going to line up, if you use, so say you had the 5070, 5080, 5090, you turned on DLSS 4 in all of them, because this will use DLSS 4 as well, and if you turned on frame gen either 1 or 2 in all of them, this is the standard that they'll be: 5070, 5080, 4090, 5090. Now, the trick up the sleeve that they have with the 5000 series is that they have the frame gen 3 and 4, which is increasing it yet again, and that will mix things up. Now, if you're okay with adding even more extra frames to your games, now I'm not a big fan of frame gen as it is. I know it's going to be improved again, but I noticed too many anomalies in games and things that kind of put me off frame gen. I've used it in a couple, but if I can scrape through with DLSS on quality and still keep above 60 frames, that I do, just because I'm not overly struck on frame generation. Now, that being said, we have to see how the next ones go, because that will throw a spanner in the works as to where they all stand from there. But the whole thing about the 5070, that's just a load of nonsense. That there's too much fake shenanigans going on with that one to even consider ranking it up here with this one. So yeah, how I would probably use it would be with DLSS 4, and I might use frame gen 1 or 2. And if that's the case, then this will be the better card than the 5080. If you don't mind turning everything on, then the 5080 will do more FPS. And like again, input lag or how the actual game looks, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, certainly the 58 will pull away that way. But the thing I don't like as well, and I understand it, Nvidia need to make money, and they need a reason why people buy the 5090, is they kind of gimped the 5080 by giving it 16 gig. Yes, DLSS reduces like Vram and stuff like that, but this games are already out there now that eat into that, no problem at all. And then if you've got games that you like to mod, you can kiss that goodbye. So, but again, mods and things like that, it's not Nvidia's concern. They're just concerned about what will get them through to the next 2-3 years before the next card comes out. And is that 16 gig enough? And obviously, in their eyes, that is. If you're going to use it with DLSS 4, it's enough, so that's fine. And for most people, it probably will be fine. But again, there is a few games out there that's going to soon change that. And if they're not supported by DLSS, that's even more so. And if you're going to stick mods on, again, that's another thing. So yeah, if you were to do the lineup and not use frame gen 3 and 4, then this would be kind of what you consider like a 5080 Ti. So yeah, it kind of depends on which things you're willing to switch on and which things you want to leave off, and whether you play games with lots of mods or think you're going to do it anyway. So don't be rushing off and selling these for peanuts just yet. I would highly recommend, if you have a 4090, I don't know about the 4080s and other ones, but certainly if you have a 4090, hang on and see what happens, because I've got a funny feeling, because obviously not every game uses DLSS, not every game uses the Nvidia technology, and it'll just come down to sheer horsepower as such. I would certainly hang on, because I would dare say in the grand scheme of things, in like different games that do and don't use DLSS, this is going to be your card. It's still going to be running up to 5090. Obviously the 5090 is going to run away with it. It's got twice the processing core power and everything else, and VRAM and what the 5080 does. It's that thing's obviously going to run away with it, no problem at all. Hence the price, which to me, it's that's made it a no-go. It was always going to come with a price, but that's way too big of a jump. But certainly, if you're coming from the 3000 or the low 4000s or new to PC, the 5070 or the 5080 is going to be an absolute, amazing card for someone coming into that point. I'm also wanting to do this video just for people who have the 4090, that if the 5080 was the one that you were looking at, I would seriously hang on. Again, I keep repeating myself, unless you find with frame generation 3 and 4, if you're happy with those, then by all means, if you want to get rid of your 4090 and go down the path, yeah. But if you don't mind missing frame gen 3 and 4, then I would say hold on to your 4090. It's not dead yet. And that's what my intentions are. And I'm what they class as a punter, where if something new comes out, it's like, oh, got to have that. But not in this case. This is certainly one where I've said, if it was, I mean, as soon as I've been advertised, this thing would have been on bleeding eBay, but no, I'm going to wait and see, because my gut instinct tells me that this is going to be a minimum comparable to the 5080, if not a bit better, because of what's inside it. And obviously it has more cores and stuff in that as well, but we'll have to wait and see. But apart from that, yeah, there was lots of nice things getting shown off. I'll have to wait and see. Next game to play will be the Final Fantasy Rebirth, which I was actually quite surprised. I wasn't expecting it to release in January. So that's a bit of a shock. That'll be a new one for me to start on. So yeah, that's it for now, really. There's no kind of changes, and amazingly, I don't think you're going to be seeing a 5000 series card in here. He says, but I'm kind of pretty confident on that. Anyway, bye.